Now, sometimes you might want to interact with websites in real time, which means that you want to fetch real-time data from a website and you want the information to be continually updated. Now, if you don't have Python programming, then you have to open a browser and click on the refresh button every time. But we can automate this process using mechanical soup. The method is called the get method .get. Let's look at a different page now. So we want to go to dice. Now this page simulates the roll of a dice. So you notice that every time I refresh the page, it is simulating the roll of a dice and it might give me a different number. It's not necessary, but it is possible that it's a different number every single time. Now the first thing that we want to do is to determine which is the element on the page that contains the result of the die roll. So if we inspect the page, you will notice we have this h2 tag that looks like this. So we have h2 id is equal to the result. Now the text might look a little different, but that's okay. This is simply the page element that we need to scrape. So we want to write a simple program now that will help us do this. So we will first import mechanical soup. Our browser is equal to mechanical soup dot browser. Our page is equal to browser dot get, and we simply want to copy the entire URL from here. Then our tag is equal to page dot soup dot select, and this is what we want. We want the result to be picked up, and this would be the first result tag that is coming. Even though we only have one result tag, this is what we want to pick up. And then our result is equal to the tag dot text, and then finally we want to print and say that the result of my dice roll is, and then put the result inside this. So when we run this, it says that mechanical soup is not defined. Okay, let me just check why it is not working properly. I think I misspelled it. Mechanical. No, this one. Okay, it seems I'm making a lot of spelling mistakes. That's okay. It says the result of the dice roll is 6. So in this example, we used the beautiful soup object dot select method, which helped us to find the element with the ID, which is result. Now to periodically get a new result, we will have to create a loop that loads the page at each step. So for example, if we want to do, let's say, 4 different dice rolls at 10-second intervals, we have to do this on Python. Before we do that, let's see how the time module works. So let's say I'm printing, waiting for 3 seconds. And then we say time dot sleep, and then 3, and then finally we say print waiting over. So when I run this, you will notice that We get the first print statement, then we have a 3-second wait, and then we get the second one. For example, if I make it 6 and I run this, we get the first one, then we have to wait for 6 seconds, which is the gap between the first and the second command, and we get the waiting over. So this is what we need to do now. We will see that for I is in a range of 4, we have already written this, so I can simply copy all of this. And then we can take the print as well. And then time dot sleep, and maybe, I don't know, 4 seconds. Or let's keep it 10 seconds. Let us run this. And you notice that the first result comes immediately. Now we have to wait for 10 seconds because that is a gap that we have mentioned. And after 10 seconds, we will see that the next result comes. And you get the idea, right? So you get the third one and then you get the fourth one. There is a small problem here. You will notice that after we get the fourth result, it waits for another 10 seconds before the code stops to run. So you notice that my code is still running right now, despite the fact that we already have the 4 results. And this might seem like a bit of a waste, right? Like, why do you want the code to run after the 4 results have come? So we'll just modify this a little bit, right? So it remains the same, but the small difference here is that we will say if time, or sorry, if I is less than 3, then time dot sleep 10. This time you notice we will get our first result. After 10 seconds, we get our second result. Then we get our third. And we wait one last time for the fourth result. And you notice that the moment we get the fourth result, the code stops to run, which is great. Now, techniques like the one that I've showed you can be used to scrape data from websites that periodically update their data. So think of Amazon or Flipkart. However, you should keep in mind that requesting a page multiple times very rapidly will be seen as suspicious. In fact, it can even be considered malicious because you have to make sure to see the terms of use for the website to make sure that you are allowed to do this or not. If you're not complying with the terms of use, then you could be banned. Some might say that it is non-ethical, but it can also be construed as illegal. So you have to be very careful about the number of requests that you're giving to a website.